Hello there, J Music here, and today I'll be giving my thoughts on Star Wars' first anime series, Star Wars Visions. There will be spoilers in this review, so if you haven't watched the series yet and you don't want to be spoiled, click off this video and come back when you have watched the show. But if you have already watched it or you just don't care about spoilers, let's get into it. Star Wars is probably the first franchise that I really got invested in. I grew up watching Star Wars Rebels, then watched the movies and continued growing up with the sequel trilogies. Then I went on to watch all the other series. So yes, I am a pretty big Star Wars fan, which then got me interested in watching this very intriguing project, even though I am not an anime watcher. To summarize it all, Star Wars Visions is a collection of animated short films presented through the lens of the world's best anime creators that offers a new and diverse perspective on Star Wars. So, what did I think about the series as a whole? Well, I can't really just say my thoughts about all the 9 short films overall because they are done by different studios and very different from each other. So what I will do is rank them and talk about why I rank them in that order. In last place is Tatooine Rhapsody. This short film doesn't feel like a Star Wars short film at all. Although we get to see familiar faces and familiar elements from the Star Wars universe, at the core of it is a story about a music band with Star Wars branding on it. And because it felt so unfamiliar, I didn't really resonate with this short film. Maybe it just wasn't my thing. In 8th place, Akakiri. This short film felt odd and bland. The story is essentially about a Jedi falling to the dark side because of love, something we have already seen with Anakin and Padme. The reason I felt that this short film was bland is that it is something so familiar and it moves a bit too slow pacing wise, and eventually it gets boring. Also, the soundtrack and the animation style in this episode just felt odd to me. Perhaps it is because this style isn't my thing. Next on this list, we have Toby. Along with Tatooine Rhapsody, these 2 short films were obviously targeted for the younger audience, which is fine. But I didn't really feel the emotional resonance that the short film intended to project. I think this is because the pacing was a bit fast and it doesn't leave time to let the scenes breathe more. So because of that, I felt disconnected emotionally from the story. Coming in 6th place, The Elder. This short film moved at quite a slow pace as it slowly unpeels the mystery. What I think this short film did well is slowly building up the mystery around the Elder. I like the relationship between the Jedi and his Padawan, as well as the subtle humor that isn't too out there. The action in this short film isn't intense like some of the other episodes, but feels intense in a more intimate and slow way that allows for suspense. This short film can feel too slow at times, and that was what held it back for me. In 5th place, Lord and Ocho, a family tragedy. This short film brought up the question of how does the Empire affect families whose members may be on opposing sides. I find this conversation that the episode proposes very interesting. I think what this short film does well is present the scenario of a family conflicted on whether the Empire is good or bad, and how it can tear a family apart. This short film did a good job of showing that and making me feel for the characters. In second place, The Duel. I think this short film had the best lightsaber action out of all 9 short films. So yes, this short film was quite action driven. There was also this sense of mystery around the main character that made me intrigued as well as invested. I also liked the animation style a lot. It kind of felt like an old animated style movie with it mostly being black and white, which was suitable for this short film. I also liked how the only things colored were the lasers. At the end of the short film, I find the main character Ronin very intriguing, and I wouldn't mind knowing more about his character in some form of continuation of the story. And that is why this short film scored second place. Coming in third place, The Village Bride. This episode is probably the most chill of all the short films in the series. We get to see the custom of the village that has a certain connection to the Force through the eyes of 2 visitors to the planet, which I thought was a great way to do the world building without it feeling bland. This short film is quite slow paced, but it never felt too long or slow for me. In fact, I think the pacing worked just right for this short film and builds up the suspense of the story really well when it comes to the danger. The climax of the short film, despite being brief, it felt heavy and powerful for me as a certain choice and action was made. Part of why I like this episode so much has to go to the score. The score for this episode was really good, and I think it enhanced the emotions of the moments in the short film very well. That is why this short film is in the top 3. In second place, The Duel. I think this short film had the best lightsaber action out of all 9 short films. So yes, this short film was quite action driven. There was also this sense of mystery around the main character that made me intrigued as well as invested. I also liked the animation style a lot. It kind of felt like an old animated style movie with it mostly being black and white, which was suitable for this short film. I also liked how the only things colored were the lasers. At the end of the short film, I find the main character Ronin very intriguing, and I wouldn't mind knowing more about his character in some form of continuation of the story. And that is why this short film scored second place. Edging out The Duel just a bit for first place, The Ninth Jedi. This was probably the one that got me invested in the show the most. The world building of this particular setting was done quite well and made it engaging from the beginning. I really like how this short film has its own spin on lightsabers, something very different from canon but very interesting at the same time. The focus character of this short film is Cara. We get to see her motivation, her struggle, and her eventual rise, which I feel is the best way they could have done the arc in the limited runtime they had. The lightsaber action in this episode was good as well, but not as great as the duels. There are also some twists in the short film that were really not what I was expecting at all, which added to the intriguing episode and the stakes. This doesn't just feel like a short film. I can easily see this becoming a setup for some form of continuation. Overall, I really like this short film, and this is why it is number 1. Overall, I enjoyed this series more than I thought I would, and I really like how this series brings a fresh feeling to Star Wars. Even if it's not canon, I hope they continue adding to this series as I would love to watch more. Now I'm sure that we are going to disagree, so if you want to share your thoughts, feel free to do so in the comment section below.